and welcome. The world is facing a water crisis. 8% of global energy is already being used for pumping, treating and transporting water. And not surprisingly, water and energy are being combined as a theme by the United Nations, which also marks 22nd March as the World Water Day. I'm now joined by Dr. Glyn Davies, Executive Director of Global Programs at the World Wildlife Fund. And we're going to talk about what the WWF Federation is doing to solve the problems of water, and who is it enlisting in this effort to improve people's lives.
Thank you very much. I think the first starting point is people and planet. We've got to have these two components brought together for WWF, that there be gharial and river dolphins in the River Ganges is fundamental for where we're from and what we believe in, but we need to do that with people. So when it comes to water, there are different elements, but what we've been talking about today is how do we get businesses to engage with that? And we have a framework of water stewardship. This stewardship is keeping a resource that does not belong to you, because water belongs to everybody. And to try and say, how do we engage with business? And we have developed a water risk filter, because research carried out in India looking with Accenture and WWF shows that many businesses are not really aware of the risk. All the way along their supply chain, they're not aware of it. So the first thing is analyze it. Do we realize that 8,000 liters of water go into making a pair of blue jeans? But the average consumption by people in India is 100 liters a day. So the impact and the understanding is the first step. The next step is businesses, government and communities coming together to find a solution, because it's a shared problem. If businesses don't do that, they have reputational risks. Some businesses have to close their business, close their factories. And if they don't do it, the rivers will dry up and we will all suffer.
Right. So when you say business has to show stewardship, business also seems to be the largest contributor to the problem. I mean, what domestic consumption is only 10%.
Yeah, I mean, agriculture in India, of course, is 80%.
Yeah. No, my question is more global rather than.
So in terms of global, I mean, we have developed partnerships. There's the CEO mandate on water. There are other international initiatives, but they're not getting enough traction to make a difference. If you develop a map of the world showing areas of water stress and water scarcity, it is getting worse. Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa are especially at risk, and so we need a collective action to deal with it. If you look at the freshwater index that WWF looks at in terms of biodiversity, it's declined by 70% since 1970. So that is the species in the river gone down by 70%, and they're a measure of the river's health. Last year in Davos, the World Economic Forum looked at what are the 10 risks for business. Water is the third biggest risk for business worldwide.
So what are people doing about it? And who is doing something about it?
So really, WWF really has a convening role. We have some thought leadership, and then we have a convening role. We engage in partnerships. We've engaged in a partnership worldwide with HSBC. We have, through that partnership, engaged with government with fantastic results in managing the Yangtze River in China. 40 protected areas established along the river from the Three Gorges down to Shanghai in a 20-year period, mostly as a reaction to climate change. We know it's coming, we don't know what it will do, but we think it will play out first in rivers. So the Chinese government has spread its risk along the river. Here, only yesterday, I met the district magistrate for Moradabad. There is an industry there, India's center of brass, but the pollution to the river and the impact on the communities is approaching tragic proportions. They have come together with the community to say, how can we better manage this? So this is an example. Government has to set the vision. Companies have to say, yes, we agree. We agree that we want a better vision, and we will join.
On these two points, who is really lagging when you look at the world at large? Is it the companies? Is it I mean, are governments being sufficiently responsible?
Everybody. it is a crisis because multiple actors have not stood up to their part.
Right.
You need government to show a lead, and of course, no one wants to be told what to do about water. So it's politically sensitive, but they must show a lead. Otherwise, we only wait for a disaster before we take action.
And when you say show the lead, I mean, are you referring to community efforts and bringing people together, like in a small case like Moradabad, or is it
That's
something
a pilot.
much larger? Yeah,
That's a pilot
Sure.
to show what good looks like.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's just starting. I will be going there later this week to really try and understand it better. And I'm just visiting. But to get those messages out through the media, so this is what good looks like. It is possible. Everyone gets committed to make a better city, which they are proud of, and they want to show it, others can follow.
Right.
It then has to go to a whole watershed. You can't just have one city and all the other cities and not
So if there
acting
were to be a
responsibly.
policy intervention or a series of policy interventions
Yeah.
which are different from what has been done in the past, what would they be for large countries
Well,
like India?
So you need to look at the effectiveness and authority of the Ganges River Basin Management Authority. That is the organization which is charged with looking along the whole spectrum, and that they must be able to provide information. A lot of ignorance about the problem and the solutions. And then many different actors can come up with new solutions. Businesses can be looking at their own efficiency. They can be looking at reducing their own pollution, and they can be working with communities to say, let's have a look at how we do it together for shared risk. And if they don't, communities will object.
Right. So first point is measure the problem, as in
You need to
you
measure.
quoted the example of Ganges River Management
Yes.
Authority or the Ganga River Management
Yes.
Authority, which is clearly a challenge.
Yeah.
The second is to bring the business or at least make business more aware of it.
Yes.
But my question then is that should it be mandated, or is it just awareness that will work?
In my experience, municipalities, state governments, and federal and national governments have a vital role to play. So in the UK, where I'm from, there are regulations which are enforced, and businesses have to follow them, and cities have to follow them.
And we're going beyond, let's say, pollution control norms and so on. I mean, this is
Abstraction
really about-
licensing.
Yeah.
What are the controls on how much you can take? What are the measures that the statutory authorities have to show good progress?
And would pricing of water be one solution?
Pricing is always going to be part of the mix.
Okay. What's the one thing that you are focused on for 2014 in this area?
So as a
The top thing.
small organization,
Yeah.
for us,
Yeah.
it is bringing together great partnerships to show what good looks like.
Okay.
And Moradabad, I can't say too highly, starting from a low base, is a great example of what good can look like.
Dr. Glyn Davies, thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you.